All right, Nick, thank you. And also our attention has been down in central Texas, where just an unimaginable tragedy unfolding there. It's what's described as a 100-year flooding that is still happening right now.
Yeah, they could be dealing with more weather because of this. Torrential rains raising the level of the Guadalupe River more than 20 feet in just 45 minutes. That created a wall of water that ripped apart everything in its path,
including taking so many lives. At least 81 people died, most swept away in the raging current, and officials warn that that number of people could grow today. More than 50 of those lost were in Kerr County, and that's where Jay Gray joins us now.
Well, good morning. Want to give you a first-hand look at just some of the devastation. Here you can see the limbs, the debris pressed up against the railing of what is a river walk here. All of this more than 20 feet from the edge of the river and underwater during the most severe flooding. The damage here is overwhelming. There was more rain and evacuations overnight, and forecasters warn those conditions could continue for the next 24 hours.
Like the floodwaters tearing apart the Texas Hill Country, the rescue and recovery effort here is relentless.
That is where our energy, our resources, and our attention are directed. Nothing is more important than bringing comfort and clarity to those who are waiting and grieving.
Hundreds of first responders working around the clock, going into the fourth straight day now.
The Department of Public Safety is offering any and every resource that we have to help with those searches, whether it be boat teams, rescue, divers, helicopters, drone operators, drones.
High-profile military vehicles, thermal and night vision technology, crews combing the strike zone on foot, others on horseback. This team uncovering the body of a young victim in the debris.
We decided we should look in that spot a little bit more before we went back down, and that's when we found it.
We covered her with a towel.
At least 80 are dead. Dozens still missing, including a group of young girls and their counselor from Camp Mystic.
I think while it was going on, I kind of felt like a sense of numbness.
13-year-old Stella Thompson escaped. She and a group of fellow campers led out by the National Guard through debris, overturned vehicles, camp gear and clothes littering the trees, rescue divers in the water.
Saying it out loud is making me realize what actually happened and how bad it actually is.
A realization so many in Central Texas are struggling with right now.
Look, with all of the damage, all that's been lost here, frankly, many in this area are still in shock, though they will tell you the one thing they haven't lost is hope, and that includes the rescue teams who stress they are doing just that, searching for survivors, and say that will continue until everyone is found. In Kerrville, Texas, I'm Jay Gray. Now back to you.
All right, Jay. The Trump administration dismissing some officials in Texas who are criticizing cuts at the National Weather Service, blaming them for underestimating the rainfall that led to the massive flooding.
As Alice Barr reports from Washington, the president says that he will visit the area this week.
President Trump back in Washington pledging support for flood-ravaged Central Texas and planning to visit later this week.
I would have done it today, but we'd just be in their way.
While pushing back on questions about whether cuts to the federal government left key vacancies at the National Weather Service.
They did not. They did. I'll tell you, if you look at that water situation, this is a 100-year catastrophe, and it's just so horrible to watch.
That as critics called for an investigation into staffing levels at the offices responsible for issuing flood warnings.
I know there are a number of important vacant positions, and that I and others have been asking for some time how this affects our preparedness here and ability to give alerts.
The legislative director for the National Weather Service Employees Union said the offices did have enough meteorologists to respond, while raising concerns about unfilled senior positions. The National Weather Service released its timeline of alerts starting early Thursday and noting a 1:14 a.m. warning that triggered cell phone alerts. The White House saying the NWS did their job, while in Texas, the long and painful job to recover amid so much loss is just beginning. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Here at home, the man pulled from the rubble of a deadly house explosion on Detroit's east side remains in the hospital this morning. This is a view from Sky 4 over the area of McCormick Street on Saturday. As you can see, there's nothing left of that home. Nearby homes also damaged. The man who survived that blast was actually pulled out by neighbors and rushed to the hospital. However, a few hours later, first responders located the body of a woman inside. 2 other homes were damaged in that explosion, which was reported around 4 o'clock yesterday. We now know just as soon as we're going to continue to keep updated on that investigation.